no conscience. Okay, so the brain to survive needs blood, and oxygen which is supplied from the blood. So the carotid arteries which carry the blood from the heart and then arteries taking heart from the heart to the brain, if they are severed, okay, and the oxygen supply to the brain is cut within a very short period of time, it stops to feel, it stops to be conscious. What happens with regards to its life, how long the heart beats, and whether it jumps, all those things are irrelevant now because it hasn't experienced pain. And shechita is not about killing an animal. It's not about death. Shechita is about performing an act that will render this animal to be kosher. Okay, it takes it from a state of life and puts it into a state of being shechted and being fit, kosher, fit to be eaten. So therefore, our concern and the animal welfare lobby's concern would have to be about pain that experienced while it's conscious. Now, if you want to tell me that a captive bolt to the brain and the incredible, and you can see on the face, actually you can see it on the contusions on the face, the way the animal reacts to this captive bolt that smashes its skull and breaks and severs the actual brain itself. Or the motionless reaction of shechita, where you have a very sharp knife and very clear instruction, and in a very short period of time you cut through the skin, the trachea, the esophagus, the carotid arteries, and before even anybody has a chance to see, it's finished. And again, you just use the basic things that we use, and you take a look and you see that the way the animal responds to it, it's actually you don't have evidence there that it's in pain.
Well, that's the question. Why then the bolt after?
Yes, well, that's by law. Laws require that. Law requires that. So they have given shechita. They have given shechita a dispensation, except for religious reasons, for civil rights, on the basis of the language which is your religious and civil rights. On that basis, we will allow shechita to continue, so long as you do this.
So does that mean that New Zealand's banned the Maoris hunting, shooting, hunting, farmers killing their own animals in their backyard, as well as culling of kangaroos?
There's commercial and there is sport. Okay, you want to talk about duck hunting and things like that. This act relates to commercial productivity. So, I don't know, I'm saying if you're going to make a commercial concern, you're going to sell the chickens or the meat, you would have to now, by law in New Zealand, stun this animal before you shecht it, which we now can only eat.
So if it's not for profit, then it wouldn't be commercial?
I don't know. I'm not an expert on that particular law, but I can tell you that commercially it's now become forbidden. It's now against the law. If somebody would have a commercial concern and they would shecht an animal and stun it afterwards, that would be in contravention of the law.
Rabbi, bear in mind, but a lot of research has been done by Kashrut, by Dr. Temple Grandin.
I've read
and I'm surprised that her research, she has started actually a whole branch of animal behaviour, and I think one of her experiments was she basically has monitored animals, and she says that she's seen it should have been performed many times. She says they put them in a crush which will retain the animal, and she says they loosen it, so the animal's free to move, and the animal did not flinch at all and move during the shechita, and she said quite clearly that the flinch of the animal is far less than what you see on them when they pierce the ear in order to insert a tag. So I'm surprised that her research doesn't surface all in part of the discussions that you mentioned.
It actually does surface, and it has been Temple Grandin, her research, and there's a beautiful photo of her with a horse on her website. But the reality is a lot of the work that has been, a lot of support for shechita internationally has been based on her findings. Today, there are other people, not necessarily as credible, but they've written up papers. I actually received from Joe Letterman not long ago a number of submissions that were made. That if you compare the quality of those submissions to those of Temple Grandin, she's got the turtle, whereas those are. But at the end of the day, it's a submission, and there are people who are behind the animal work, who are actually putting forward submissions that would challenge her findings, and people are paying attention to those, like I told you. So the reality is that until today, we have relied very heavily. Shechita across the world has relied very heavily on her findings, but now there are other things coming out. And
so you think there's another agenda, right?
There's definitely another agenda. And in fact, when it comes to this food labelling issue, when the government put out a paper, and they said that we're looking into the question as to whether there should be a requirement to include the word kosher under food standards, and halal, and virgin oil, a whole bunch of things which could be, maybe should be included, because, I mean, the origin of this is not coming from kosher. The origin of this is coming from people who are vegan, or they're coming from other areas, and they want to say they have an actual product that hasn't got other products in it. So they were asking a question, should it happen? And interestingly, underneath that particular question, it was clearly stated in the review document that a lot of these issues are motivated by animal welfare people. And in fact, one of the heads of the RSPCA came to me at the conference when I was speaking afterwards, and she said to me, Rabbi, would it be possible to label every byproduct that comes out from the shechita, from kosher slaughter? Now, why would you need to, for example, you have the gallbladder actually have got very potent stuff. It's like a bitter gel, it's a Yiddish saying. Very bitter, but they actually use it in soap. And so they collect it, and they put it in soap. You could take, what their agenda would be was that any bar of soap which has within it even the smallest amount of a product that came as a byproduct of shechita could have that on the label, and if then the animal welfare people wanted to go and lobby and say, shechita or kosher slaughter is painful, we should boycott all products which have kosher in it, would have a tremendous impact. But what I was saying is, underneath that question the government asked in the review...
That stuff would come from any...
You can't have...
that kind of stuff would come even from we've slaughtered non-kosher.
Also, the question was, would you be able to track all the byproducts of animals that have come through this process?
Other than the immediate threat to shechita, you're saying actually there's a much bigger threat, which is long-term, and that is that there's an agenda. What devices and what structure do we have in order to tackle that, which seems to be the much bigger problem?
What we have done is we have very largely chosen not to tackle it head-on, and done everything that we can with the minister behind closed doors, because once this becomes a public agenda, the dangers are far too great.